Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Brode.
Nearly 4,000 volunteers have helped to reconstruct over 325 homes like this one to help make a house turn into a home. Now in the demolition phase of the project, within a week, nothing will remain except for these 3 pillars. Construction was initially delayed by 2 weeks in order to wait for the ice to melt on Lake Audubon. So now workers have to work extra hard in order to make the January deadline. So as soon as you walk in through the doors at the Husfest, one of the first things you do and you notice, it's that smell. It's the smell of Scandinavian food, and the aroma is all over the place. So I figured, being this is my first Husfest, what better way to get some of the Scandinavian culture than to try the food. I've had kettle corn, deep fried Twinkies, chocolate malts, Indian tacos, egg sandwiches, but ultimately my favorite, the Tubby's Burger. For KX News, I'm Gary Brode. All right, Jim, so if it looks like the camera's shaking a little bit, it's because our sure-handed cameraman was laughing uncontrollably at my reaction to the entire
Galen gets to live through that with all our new reporters.
I've never seen him laugh so hard than what I did 2 days ago. Yesterday, it was terrific. It was hilarious.
So, favorite food?
Viking on a stick was good.
All right.
I was thoroughly impressed there.
Hard to beat that.
It really is, absolutely. One of Jessica's biggest difficulties is juggling her passion for fighting with her passion for the Air Force. Through hard work and determination, she's able to do both. I'm here at the Husfest. We're wrapping up the festivities for today. So I found out that a picture is worth 1,000 words. The same could be said for a caricature. So I met up with one of the local Husfest artists and found out that she's not only creating memories, but capturing them. For years, the Snake Creek pumping plant has pumped water from Lake Sakakawea into Lake Audubon. But time has taken a toll on the facility.
The brick itself was deteriorating from the inside out. We were getting rust. Some of the brick was spalling. We were having water leaks in the building. Conduit embedded in the walls. That has deteriorated as well.
Pumping into Audubon concluded in late May and cannot resume until renovations are complete. Members of Reclamation know being unable to pump water will lead to some issues, but nothing the engineers can't handle.
I think our only concern is to ensure that the water doesn't get too high because of the rain we've been receiving. About 3 weeks ago, we released some water out of Lake Audubon because it was getting too high. It was causing some erosion problems with the islands. Now in the demolition phase of the project, within a week, nothing will remain except for these 3 pillars. Construction was initially delayed by 2 weeks in order to wait for the ice to melt on Lake Audubon. So now workers have to work extra hard in order to make the January deadline. We're replacing the electrical conduits, we're replacing water pipes. Basically all the plumbing that's in the building is going to be replaced at the upper level here by the time we're done.
For the last few years, water could be seen seeping through the brick walls, which will now be replaced by concrete. Officials say replacing the walls and roof are critical to assure the pumping plant retains its integrity into the future. With construction underway, the seed can now begin to grow for the pumping plant. At Audubon Lake, Gary Brode, KX News. As you walk into the State Fair Center, it doesn't take long before being overwhelmed with the mouth-watering aroma at the Norsk Husfest. Being this is my first Husfest, and I'm not one to shy away from food, I figure what better way to take in some of the Scandinavian culture.
This is our Viking on a stick.
Viking on a stick smells like and initially tastes like a pancake, but it's when you get a taste of the meatball, which makes you wish you could eat this for breakfast every day. The event is filled with plenty of delicious dishes, including lefse, bread and rice pudding, more pastries than the Swedish chef from the Muppets could even dream of, and of course, rummegrot.
It's a Norwegian pudding. It's made with heavy cream and flour and scalded milk. You have to add butter to it and add cinnamon and sugar.
More sugar.
So what do you think?
Tastes like you melted a donut. But enough was enough. I knew there was one dish I still needed to try, a dish synonymous with the Husfest and the Scandinavian culture, lutefisk. The entree is a cod brought in from Norway, served with salt and pepper, and a lot of butter.
Well, and lutefisk is not like any other fish. It has a special flavor to it, and I am not of Norwegian or Scandinavian background, but I think it's wonderful.
Here goes nothing.
If you have not tried it before, you have to acquire a taste for lutefisk.
Not for me. Not for me at all.
Lutefisk is like lobster. It's the butter that gives it the flavor.
And I think it's more like the lady to the right said, fish flavored jello. Think about it for a while.
At the Norse Coast Fest.
That is terrible. That's so...
Gary Brode, KX News. Hope can drive people to accomplish amazing feats. Hope can keep a person going after tragedy has struck. Hope can bring people together in the name of a common goal.
When you consider the depth of the tragedy that happened here in Minot, and to find that volunteers from all over the United States would come and be here, and then to top that unbelievable goal of $2 million in volunteer service, I mean, you just shake your head and you say it's absolutely amazing and awesome.
Nearly 4,000 volunteers have helped to reconstruct over 325 homes like this one to help make a house turn into a home.
They come with just a sense of joy, a sense of a willing heart, and a sense of care.
There's nothing better than doing a job and actually being able to see what you did. I mean, see that difference you made. So we know that, somebody's life is going to be restored because of what we did, or at least on the way to that. So that's huge.
And so here are the numbers when you break them down. According to Independent Sector, an organization which measures what a volunteer hour would be worth, in North Dakota the volunteer hour rate is currently $19.18. Now multiply that $19.18 by the 120,610 hours of volunteer service Hope Village has received since opening its doors in April of 2012, and you end up with a number which amazes Pastor Paul. While the end may be in sight for the Hope Village mission, Kruger fully intends to complete what was started.
So we want to finish strong. We made promises to the people of Minot at the beginning of this disaster that we were going to do what it takes to give everything we've got to help folks get back into their homes.
Kruger and the rest of Hope Village look to continue its work even when its services are no longer needed. The plan is to establish a regional staging center somewhere in the northwest part of the state. In the case of any disaster in the region, help would be available to those in need. Even with all the good the group has done thus far, the program looks to continue contributing, all in the name of hope. In Minot, Gary Brode, KX News. So one of the first things that I ever heard when I first came to North Dakota was about the state fair. So my mom came all the way out from Youngstown, Ohio to enjoy the festivities herself. We're going to ride some rides, play some games, maybe eat some food, and enjoy what North Dakota State Fair has to offer. I decided to play a few games to start, and I figured better to start off with something easy. After doing pretty well at the dart game, I decided to move on to something a bit more challenging. It's been a few years since I played a game like this, but I'm going to give it my best shot and try to knock over a bottle right now. I probably should have quit after that. I needed a little more excitement, and what better way to get the heart pumping than to ride a few rides. So I haven't really rode any rides in a few years, but a friend mentioned this to me a couple days ago. I'm going to give it a try, see how I like it. All right. Oh! Whoa! That was fun. That was really fun. Had a head rush though real quick, so I'm going to have to catch my breath. Once the joy of being suspended some 30 feet in the air was over, it was time to cool down.
There you go.
All right.
Cheers.
That's refreshing, especially after a hot day like this. We rode some rides, we played some games. That's day one. We have 8 more to go. For KX News, I'm Gary Brode at the North Dakota State Fair.
The
There was a scare today at the nation's capital. Authorities say a woman tried to ram her car through the White House gate. It's not clear whether she was armed, but witnesses say there was a child in the car. Police chased the woman approximately a mile to Capitol Hill, where Secret Service agents shot and killed the woman. A police officer was injured in the crash. North Dakota lawmakers sought refuge in their own or nearby offices. Lawmakers responded to an alarm that warns them of potential threats. That alarm is then followed by an email for validation that isn't a test. Senator John Hoeven was walking out of the Capitol building when he heard the gunshots. He was held by Capitol Police at a guard kiosk for 45 minutes. Congressman Kevin Cramer told us his first priority was to contact his family and reassure them of the situation.
You soon.
All right, thanks, Tim. Congress continues to debate whether or not to help in Syria, but its involvement could already be seen with Syrian troops. Clarissa Ward slipped into rebel territory to meet the fighters the U.S. supports. Seniors are a vulnerable population in North Dakota's growing economy. That's according to North Dakota Housing Finance Agency Director Jolene Klein. And that's why the groundbreaking of the Williston Senior 2 building was an affordable housing milestone today. The $3.9 million senior housing project will include 21 units in a 3-story building. The Housing Finance Agency allocated more than $400,000 in low-income housing tax credits, bringing nearly $3.4 million in equity to the project. The tax credits keep construction costs low, which allows seniors ages 55 and over the opportunity for income-based rent. Prices range from about $300 to $700, depending on apartment and household size and, of course, income.
We hear
Numerous proposals to fund the government and raise the nation's borrowing limit are being floated on Capitol Hill. But so far, none of them have emerged as the winner that will end the budget stalemate and bring thousands of furloughed federal employees to work. Susan McGinnis has the latest from Capitol Hill. All right, thank you. And as Tom said, there is a chill in the air, and that's often followed by sniffles and coughs. And it's in the colder months that influenza can also attack. In North Dakota, influenza activity starts in the fall, then peaks in March or April. Health officials say the best time to get vaccinated is now, when flu activity is low. And having a flu shot can mean protection for more than just the person getting the vaccine.
it's important.
Flu shots are available across the state through local district health units and at medical facilities. Log on to ndflu.com to find a flu clinic being held in your area.